The silver price and gold price are up. Are people experiencing FOMO when it comes to silver and gold? And more importantly, today, June 14th, Ron's Basement has designated as National Women's Silver Day. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more with our regular guest, the Louisiana Gold Guru, Mr. Buddy Rumble. Buddy, welcome to Ron's Basement.
Good morning, Ron. You was talking about today's National Women's Silver Day. I think we're going to have to give them a whole month.
Right. So they can get their order in.
You give an inch, they take a mile, so you're going to have to give a month. So
That's right. That's right. Well, I've noticed over the last several months in particular, a influx of women viewers on my channel. And I'm sensing out there that there are more, and Coin Shop Chris has noticed that as well at his shop, that we're having more and more women coming into the stacking community. He's even told stories about women, dragging their husbands in and having to convince them that they need to buy some silver or gold. So, of course, all the women are welcome here in Ron's Basement. And I thought it would just be appropriate that I designated today as the day that every year we can celebrate the growing number of women who are joining the ranks of stackers who really, we all have the same objective, right? We want to protect ourselves and our families and our wealth.
Yes. Of course, every man that has a lady, it stands to reason that anytime you go to buy something for a woman, she's always dragging it to the jewelry store, which has got gold and silver. So I mean, it can't. I mean, they're taking over. If they can't get a man to do it for them, they're going to do it themselves. So I mean, might as well start stacking silver and gold.
Yeah. And you bring up a great point I never thought of. Really, women have been stackers probably as long or longer than men. They just prefer to wear it in the form of jewelry, and now actually accumulating physical bullion as well.
Well, yeah, but look at all those Spanish galleons and that went down in the Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico. They had all that jewelry and it was all gold, some silver. I mean, so it's been around for quite a few years, hundreds of years, centuries, that we've been toiling to stack them with gold and silver. Just maybe it might be in jewelry. They always want something pretty.
Yeah,
gold and silver's that.
Well, I'm encouraged by the fact that we're seeing more women watching my videos. I asked Coin Shop Chris, I said, do you think it's really an increased interest in gold and silver, or is it maybe my dashing good looks? And he wouldn't answer, and he just laughed. So I don't know. We'll have to see what it is, right?
Well, yeah. Mom says she thought you was a good looking guy. I mean, she knows you're married. She'd never go after a married man, but she says, do you think there's a Ron out there for me that's maybe 70 years old, that she thought you was a good looking guy? So
yeah, well, Susie might be willing to trade me in. So
oh no, Susie's got a good man there, and so you're in good shape, or she's in good shape.
Yeah. So what's on top of your mind, buddy? Anything you want to talk about?
Well, I was thinking about this. Today's Fed Day, correct?
Yes.
This morning I went and did some research, just a little bit. The Fed is, what is it, 5 1/4, the U.S. Fed.
Yep.
The Canadian bank rate is 5.0, but then it says deposit rate is 4.75. The Bank of England is 4.5. That's current. RBA, which is Australia, is 4.1, and I think just in the last week they raised 0.25 basis, or 25 basis point. The bank de France is 3.75, and all they, just in the last 25 days, a lot of them hit these 25 basis points. I don't know. I kind of think that today they'll do another 25, but I could be wrong. They might be allowing these other countries to catch up before they do it again, or maybe, you just don't know. It's like a chess game. You got to maneuver your pieces, to for whatever end or goal you're going to do.
Well, I think you bring up a good point, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Traditionally, the U.S. leads the way, meaning we start raising rates, and then everybody kind of follows in the following 3 to 6 months. So what you said could be the case, right? Like they could be playing catch up right now.
Right.
But I think anything's on the table, and probably what's going to be paid more attention to this time is how they communicate, what their written statement and how they verbally communicate afterwards. Do people get a feel that they're saying, well, we're just pausing for one time and then we're going to be raising rates again? That would be, bad for the price of gold and silver.
Right.
But even if they were to raise rates and then communicate, well, we think this is it, we're done, right? That would be, in an upside down world, that would be good for the price of gold and silver.
Right.
So, I think it's a real wild card right now. But I think the one thing we know for sure, buddy, is that no matter what they do, it's all a bunch of BS. I mean, I came up with a new term, and as far as I know, I didn't read this or hear this from anybody else, so I can't give any credit. I'm not plagiarizing like I usually do, right? Unicorn fart dust, I think I made that up, but also to describe what they're doing, it's a monetary mirage, right? It's like everything the Fed does, because the facts, the math behind what's going on doesn't add up and isn't sustainable. So they can talk, and that's one of their favorite things to do, is to talk and to influence the market by what they say verbally. But the reality is it's a mirage. It's like the Wizard of Oz. And at the end of the day, we know that gold and silver are going to hold their value.
Right. I mean, it doesn't matter what they do. Gold has never went to zero. I mean, there's only one thing that I could ever think of that gold or silver would not retain any value. And if that was some apocalyptic event that we're all going to be gone. So, I mean, nothing's going to have no value. It's just going to be chaos. But I don't see that. But that would be the only thing that would keep gold and silver, or would not keep it, put it down. I mean, nothing would be valuable. It's end of earth. That would be the only thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Gold and silver are, I mean, I don't know, not to get off on too crazy of a tangent, but imagine you're in a spaceship orbiting the planet and you're looking down at Earth, and there's just a certain amount of gold and a certain amount. We know that, right? There's only so much gold, a finite amount. Yeah. Right. And there's unlimited electronic and paper and everything else. Yeah.
H2O.
Yeah. I want to talk about something that came to mind just this morning. And again, I happened to be chatted with Coin Shop Chris before you and I got on, but I want to get your opinion on this. He was telling me about a big order that somebody has at the coin shop. But the guy said he's only going to buy it if the Fed pauses today. He said if the Fed pauses, he's going to put this big, if the Fed raises rates, he's not going to put the order through. So it got me thinking, you ever hear that concept FOMO, FOMO? Yeah. Do you think there could be a lot of people out there? I get the feeling, and it's a good, warm, fuzzy feeling, that there's a lot of people that are thinking, yeah, I want to buy some gold, I want to buy some silver, but I'm kind of waiting. And if we get a bump, right, especially if gold were to go to a new all-time high, which it's within striking distance of doing that we could have a quick wave of people buying coming in.
Yes, I think so. I think that would be a good assumption. I don't know how large of an order, Chris, is that's coming in, but within the last about 3 weeks ago, I went to our local coin shop, and the guy in Lafayette, he was on the phone, and I heard him talking to somebody, and it seems to me he had a couple of $500,000 sales coming through that they were getting in, and they had one box that they were shipping out, and it was heavy, but they was talking the insurance on it, and this is the first time I ever seen anybody do this. The coin shop guy tipped the FedEx guy a $100 bill. Just give him a $100 bill, and I've never seen anybody do that. So there had to have been a gold order in there somewhere. So,
Sounds like that was a big order.
yeah, Louisiana's got a lot of oil people, and I've heard him talking about. He's got people. I mean, there's a lot of the tool industry for the oil, and there's a lot of money here that. And he's talked about he's got some very lucrative customers. And he says there's one guy that sold a company, and he's traditionally been, if I've got $1 million that I made, 20% goes to gold and silver. And I think that they're even going more 30 and 30, 35, maybe 40% of their capital gains in gold and silver. So I think the smart money is in gold and silver. Everything else is just a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. Well, I think the other exciting thing to think about is, again, gold is not far from its all-time high. And if gold goes to an all-time high, that will bring a lot of attention to gold. I mean, if let's say gold goes to 2,100, 2,200, suddenly it might get a more than 5 seconds a week attention on CNBC or maybe the Wall Street Journal.
Well, we hit an all-time high just recently, wasn't it? 2060, wasn't it? That the high we hit?
No, that was not. It was, as far as I know, no, it was right below it, almost, but didn't quite break through. And that if we do break through, sentiment in the gold sector is in the toilet right now. Not just the gold mining stocks, but just overall, to the extent that you can quantify and measure sentiment. So if we get to an all-time high and we get a little improvement in sentiment, and when sentiment improves, that means more money's coming in. We could, I really think we could move from, 2,100 to 2,600 in a flash.
Well, with the premiums, we can sit and look at the spot price, but if we look at the premiums, aren't we already at an all-time high? What was the premiums? No. I mean, no. And I think when we're talking about all-time high, we are typically talking on the spot price.
About the spot price. Yeah. And I don't think the premiums on gold are. I mean, silver premiums are still ridiculous, very high. I mean, you're lucky to get an ounce of silver for 28, $29 right now. Gold, the premiums are, I don't follow it as closely, but I'm confident in saying they're nothing like we have in silver, especially like on a percentage basis.
Right. Well, I'm kind of looking at it. I mean, I know we're looking at spot or what it's trading at and everything, but when that's something we might want to look. I think we ought to look and see when gold was at its all-time high the last time, what was the premium we was paying for if we was buying an ounce of gold. See what we're paying, compare it today at where we're at now. And see where we're at. I mean, you and I are not going to ever buy gold or silver at spot. There's always going to be a premium there.
Yep.
So,
And there's a lot of steps with silver in particular. People, I think everybody, the common complaint is to blame it on the coin shop. But the coin shops aren't, they aren't buying silver products at spot. They just
no,
aren't, right? I mean, the refiners are buying it from the mining companies, typically at spot, but they get refined and then it goes to a mint, and then from a mint, it'll go to a wholesaler, and then from a wholesaler, typically it will go to a coin shop. And there's, 4 or 5 steps in between. And nobody's doing that for charity, right? They all want
right.
to make a little money.
Well, now something I think that everybody needs to kind of look at, you go back into the 30s when Germany had the Nazis had taken over most of Europe, and they took every country's gold, they took all their art, they took everything. And after World War II, I think it was the Bretton Woods, they decided that all the foreign countries they exported the gold to the United States, and we were going to hold on to it. And then it went into Fort Knox, because we were supposed to be the safe bet, and everybody would trade in the US dollar and made it the reserve. We're seeing a lot of I think we're seeing a lot of similarities as what happened in the 30s and the 40s. And, there's been a lot of talk of war and wars to come. We have an Eastern European war. We've got potential for the Pacific War. And it's setting up, I see, China, if they can't beat us economically, then I think they'll hit us with a war, and it'll start in Taiwan. But like I said, I don't like to get into politics and everything. But if you look at what's going on, and this affects gold and silver, I think if we watch today and they raise it another 25 basis points, then my thoughts and ideas is they're trying to do is that they're destroying the car market, they're destroying the real estate, they're destroying the banking, and if they do that 25 basis points, it's going to hurt more banks. Maybe this is the plan to cripple the United States, and then destroy the reserve dollar, destroy the petrodollar, and possibly we would have to join BRICS, the United States. I don't know. That's what I see. I think that, like I said, it's one big chess game. So, and they even said we've had record number of gold and silver going to the east. It's going from west to east. If China is going to become the dominant superpower, then it would stand to reason, just like in after World War II, they brought the gold here. I guess they're trying to get the gold and the silver there now before some kind of conflict happens. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's certainly, I think by most any account, we are in a geopolitical environment that is more contentious, more volatile than anything we've had since World War II.
Right.
I hear that from everybody, and you bring up a great point. Something we probably don't often think about is, to the victor goes the spoils, or that traditionally the wealthiest, most powerful countries in the world had all of the gold and silver, which,
right, yeah,
and by most any account, I've heard it from all the top analysts, a lot of the metal is indeed moving from the west to the east. So, what you said certainly makes sense. It's interesting. SD Bullion had a report out last Friday about silver in China, and they had some official state media news clips where they interviewed the managers at like these silver smelting companies, and they were all saying like, we don't have enough silver. There's not, we can't supply the demand that's coming through. And they even went as far, these managers at these smelting companies, to say things like, it's a big joke because it's controlled by the COMEX and the LBMA, and the price of silver is artificially suppressed, and it doesn't make mining attractive. And then there was like even an open letter somebody wrote to one of the Chinese news agencies saying like, we need an OPEC type organization amongst the silver producing countries to control and to make sure that the price of silver gets to a point where it should be and where it's economic, and so that we have enough silver. I mean, they even they pointed out like, this will retard the development of humanity because we're not going to have enough silver to make the products that we need for technological advancement and that type of thing. So it's interesting.
Well, if I don't know if you sit back and think, I mean, I sent you a couple texts and talked about that. You know, the silver miners and the gold miners, they control it. I mean, and I know I know corporations or not corporations, but your bankers, they can break them. If you don't comply with them, you won't get loans. So I mean, but like and that's what I was saying. The mining companies can control the price. Not everybody can go out here and just jump in and buy all that equipment to start up. So you just can't get new startups like you can a small business. You know, there's a lot of cost going into that. But you know, look at De Beers. The diamond. They control it. They get all the diamonds, they bring it back to the vaults and with London, and they say there's enough diamonds for everybody to have a nice diamond, but they only release so much of it. So they kind of created their own OPEC with the diamonds. So, and that's what I think the gold and the silver miners need to do. They can control it.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be organized, and the problem with gold and silver mining is it's a fragmented industry. I think we're starting to see possibly some of that but it's I'd say unfortunately being done more of a nation basis. You know, Mexico's starting to really clamp down and exert a lot of authority over their mining sector, and some of the South American countries where a lot of silver comes from, Peru, Argentina, are doing the same thing. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I think the the future prospects for silver and gold, you know, I feel comfortable, but it's certainly going to be an interesting ride as we go through the next, let's say, 5-10 years.
It's going to the west to the east, and I mean, and let me put another bug in everybody, the listeners or the viewers' ears. There was a news article that was put out here. It's been a couple weeks ago that the defense contractors and the weapons, the Biden administration had told all these defense contractors that they have to show their carbon footprint before the US government will allow the contracts or buy what they're selling. And a lot of that stuff is supposed to be going to Taiwan for defense against China. And so we can't get weapons, missiles, jets, all the stuff that's supposed to be made for our military and our allies. You know, it's on a hold, and so it's putting it in arrears. I mean, so that's another thing I'm thinking that I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it seems to me by design that they want to bring it down, and I think the country's wealth is going to the east, and so people need to wake up. And probably women realize this because they're smart, they're in business. There are equals. So that's like you was talking about, more women are starting to buy silver and gold and stack. And we need to be, people need to be buying it. And when it's down, when it's cheap, buy it. I never buy when it goes, I mean, when it's up, but when it goes down, I buy. So
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic in this. Anyone who's been in the silver and gold market, especially silver for decades, will tell you people people don't buy it when it's down. The herd comes rushing in when it's up. So,
when it
buddy,
starts going, when it starts going up, everybody starts buying.
yep. Thank you, my friend.
No,
I
no
appreciate your
problem.
time, and on
Oh,
on behalf of everybody watching, thank you as well.
you got your silver bars?
Yeah,
I
my
thought
silver. What? Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it
Oh
was
wow, that's beautiful. Yeah.
which is
Hello.
that.
Wow. Is that a 10 ounce or a 5 ounce?
That's a 10 ounce, but it's got that's the Queen's
Yeah.
it's got the unicorn on the back of it.
Oh yeah. All right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought I brought that out. And then I know he's talking. I know you need to got to get going and everything. But on one of your lives, there was people was talking about the gold backs, and
Uh-huh.
I've owned some, but I mean they're
Oh yeah.
I mean I even got some silverbacks, but I think they're more of a novelty. And people was talking or asking, can you spend them? And you can spend them from what I understand in the states, but each state, I got Nevada Goldbacks, I've got the Wyomings, and I mean, but I got these more as a novelty. I mean, the premiums on them are really high in my opinion, but
Mm-hmm.
they're okay to invest in. I think there was a couple people asking about them.
Yeah, the premiums are high, and I think yes, in certain states they can definitely be used as legal tender, but only at stores where, excuse me, the owner or the business has agreed to.
Right.
There's a couple of videos online people can check out. But yeah, they're really a cool product, no doubt about it. And I think if you live in a state where they're usable, they're a viable option.
Well, that's like with getting with Pat and working on more states doing this. I think it was the Alpine Gold
Yeah.
guys that you had on the
Mm-hmm.
they make them or they process them, or I
Yeah.
watched the video, and I'd like to see more states get into that gold and silver that's sound money.
Legal tender. Yeah.
Legal tender, yeah. And I think that I'm going to start working on that here in Louisiana. So,
All right. Well,
but
we'll give you our full support, Mr. Buddy Rumble.
all right. Well, thank you, Ron. It was good coming on with you this morning, and hang tight. I got a package coming. Well, it's going to be delayed now, but I got a package, and you'll have to make a good video on this.
Okay.
When you get it. You're going to be joining the club.
All
And
right.
we'll just keep that. We'll keep that secret. You're going to be joining a exclusive club real soon, and you'll have a new partner in your basement.
There we go. Well, I can't wait, my friend. Thank you,
Okay.
buddy. All right.
You're
We'll
welcome.
talk to you soon.
You take care, Ron.